What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Split Decisions. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Justin.
And we're about to break down UFC 303 Pereira versus Prochazka, the rematch. This will be the second time they are fighting.
What you think of that Connor and Chandler fallout that everybody was hyped to see? So,
facts. This will be a kind of a early breakdown, early picks, early reads. Right. We are recording this fresh off of the UFC Saudi Arabia card.
Rough card pick wise for me.
Facts, but literally just watched Robert Whittaker knock out Aliskerov about 30 minutes ago.
Insane little sneaky uppercut after catching him with that overhand right. Rob, we doubted him. He's a dog.
We slept on Rob, but we are going to get into this UFC 303 Pereira versus Prochazka. Go ahead and break down that first fight for him, Justin.
All right. So the first fight, we got Ricky Simon versus Vinicius Oliveira. Ricky Simon is 31 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach. He's pretty much a well-rounded dog in this bantamweight division. He's 8-4 in the UFC, but he is coming into this fight on a 3-fight losing streak. It's pretty much the UFC trying to judge like the level of Vinicius and see if Ricky Simon is kind of past his time, or if he still got it. Vinicius on the other side is 5'9" with a 70-inch reach, so nothing crazy there as far as size difference. He is 3 inches taller. Vinicius is a dog. He's a finisher. 18 of his wins have been by KO. He is 20-3. To keep it short and sweet, honestly, I like Vinicius Oliveira in this. I do think Ricky is past his time. It's going to be a good test for Vinicius Oliveira, but I think he's going to be able to find a finish in this. I think he can catch Ricky. Ricky's been a little chinny lately, so my pick is going to be Vinicius Oliveira.
What did you say the line on that was?
Vinicius is a plus 185 dog actually, and Ricky is a minus 225 favorite.
Okay.
So I'm starting off the card with an underdog pick.
Big pick, and starting out the card with a split decision as well. I feel like that's the last 3 cards now.
Yeah, starting out. So,
we got Ricky Simon. Obviously, he's going to be a little more experienced in the UFC.
Oh yeah, way more experience.
Is coming off a 2-fight losing streak, but to some high level competition. Song Yadong.
Right.
Who was the one before that or the one after that? My bad. I thought you had it pulled up. Nah. I feel like he's definitely going to need takedowns to win this fight.
He's lost to some dogs, absolute dogs. Song Yadong, Mario Batista, and then no, it's just 2 fights. The last one was
Mario Batista and Song Yadong, very high level competition. So not too bad of some losses. Like I said, I think he's going to need some takedowns to win. Vinicius going to be the more dangerous striker. It is only a 3-round fight, so right. I could see Ricky getting the takedowns, just getting some control time. Just like we seen Vinicius Oliveira get taken down in his last fight against Sopai, which he did find a late finish in that fight.
He did. Sopai's gassed in the second.
I remember you hit that live ticket too, that plus 800.
I threw $80 smack for it was like 400, 380, something like that.
I do remember that. So obviously he's got some dog in him. He can, fight through some adversity. Like I said, he was taken down 3 times against Bernardo Sopai, and that's a debut. This is Ricky Simon we're talking about. Right. He's been in there with a lot of people. He is 8-4 in the UFC. A lot of experience in UFC. He's a black belt in BJJ. Has never been subbed, so I feel like Vinicius win condition is a KO. I just feel like Ricky Simon can grind him out in 3 rounds, get some top control, and just, show him, its levels.
Right.
So,
which is a smart pick.
My pick is going to be Ricky Simon. And what's the next fight? Because I thought Jourdain was the first fight on the card.
No, they switched it up on us. Now we got Carlos Hernandez and, what is it? Tsuruya.
Got you. What's the line on that?
So Carlos Hernandez is actually a big underdog at plus 310, and they have Tsuruya as a minus 400.
So a lot of hype behind Tsuruya. Coming from Japan, road to UFC, another road to UFC prospect, which we just watched today.
Right.
A dog fight in the first fight.
Good fight.
Carlos Hernandez, I feel like he shows good scrambles. He did show a few good scrambles early against Tatsuro.
Yeah.
To where he survived. Obviously, he got finished early in the second, but did show he was decent as far as just being able to maybe negate that style. Tsuruya is going to be more probably of a pressure wrestling style. 8-0. Majority of his wins are going to be ground and pound wins, round 1 and round 2. So he likes to get finishes. I haven't seen much of Tsuruya, so I don't know about laying the minus 400. You said was the line.
Yeah.
Honestly, I might look into a Carlos Hernandez dog play later in the week. I might just see what the line does. But I'll keep it safe. I'll say Tsuruya. I guess he gets the wrestling going on Carlos and potentially maybe finds a finish. Maybe grinds out the decision. Kind of hard to tell because I haven't really seen too much of him. But my pick's going to be Tsuruya. But may look into a Carlos Hernandez play later in the week, depending where the line goes. What you think?
Right. So, really, I don't have much to say on this just because both of these guys are still pretty new to MMA period and the UFC. Carlos is 1-2 in the UFC. His only win coming from a technical decision where he was having a good fight. But at the end, there was a clash of heads that they had to run back, look at the tape. They went to the judges' scorecards. He got, he was up, so they gave it to him. On the other side, like Pat said, Ray is a youngin'. He's making his way into the UFC from the Road to UFC show. He's got 4 knockouts, 4 subs, so he can finish a fight either way. He is kind of a dominant, wrestling type. He is the number 1 flyweight coming out of Japan, which before him it was Tsuruya was number 1. So now they're saying that this guy is
same
the
division.
Next best thing. Yeah, flyweight, same division. So they're saying he's the next up out of Japan, pretty much. So to keep it short and sweet, I'm going to go with Tsuruya 2. I think just off the finishing threat that he has, I think he's going to be able to, have his way in that grappling and find him either a ground and pound or a sub in some way. But Carlos is tough. I'm not sleeping on Carlos at all. Carlos can get the job done. So
I think he can at least stay safe. Potentially a Tsuruya decision prop, or like I said, Hernandez money line would probably be my play. Right. If he was playing it, you like Tsuruya minus 400 if you're playing it?
No, hell no. I'm staying away from that money line just because that's not even a parlay piece in my opinion.
Too fresh, too new.
Yeah, I think if anything, you can go like inside the distance, decision no action maybe, or look at that sub TKO prop, but that money line ain't it. Yeah. So next fight, we got Andre Arlovski, the vet, versus Martin Budday, the absolute slob. So Andre is a vet. Like I said, he's been around the UFC for a long-ass time, way longer than I've been watching. Well-rounded fighter, but he's well past his prime. At this point, he's just fighting off heart and a somewhat decent chin again. He's not really, doesn't have any power. He doesn't really have fast hands, but he does have volume. He will put that volume on you. He's 34-23, which is insane just because his UFC career has been so long. I mean, his UFC record alone is 23-17. So on the other side, you got Martin Budday, who, like I said, is an absolute slob. His only 2 wins in the UFC were against out of shape. One of them was a former middleweight who just didn't want to cut weight anymore, so he ballooned up to heavyweight in was it Josh Collier, and then he beat Josh Parisian his next time, who's I'm pretty sure he's from Martinsburg here.
Yep. The West Virginia boy
in the UFC. But
I think that's the only one too.
I honestly don't even want to pick this fight just because I feel like it's going to be a really boring fight. If I have to, though, give me Martin Budday just because I think he's going to be able to use all that weight, that body mass, and either, hold Andre against the fence or get him on like one of those trips, one of those sneaky little trips, kind of have his way on the ground because he does, want to try to take it to the ground, but he has hands
is he the favorite?
Yeah, he is a minus 280 favorite, which
Budday?
Yeah. Insane. But Andre is 45, so that has a lot to do. So because I have to Gimme Martin, Budday, but I am not betting it. I'm not playing it. I might not even watch it. Who knows? I'll probably watch it online. But
You definitely gonna watch it.
what do you think?
I don't know. You saying that line's got me automatically on the Arlovski side. If I'm playing a money line side, if I'm betting this fight, it's gonna be.
You're probably gonna get crazy money on that.
But even looking at the matchup, I feel like Budday is just super low volume. I feel like Arlovski might be able to just stay a little bit busier than him and just let more go
for sure.
Even if it's just some tit for tat punches, nothing crazy behind him.
Right.
Maybe just outpoint him, win a decision. Budday is 4-1 in the UFC. Arlovski 23-17 in the UFC. That's crazy to think about. That's 40 fights in the UFC.
Insane.
That's
he
nuts.
Even left, came back, and
so he's fought everybody and their dad. I don't know, man. He was finished in the last fight against Shamil Gaziev.
Yeah,
Budday was, and then Shamil kind of got exposed by Rosenstruck.
Right.
They tried to fast track him a little bit. He got finished late, kind of gassed out.
I
know that's a step up. Yeah, that's a step up in competition. But maybe they have. I don't know. This one's hard to call like early, but just off the line, I'm gonna take Arlovski.
Arlovski's also lost to Dontel Mays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Big low volume.
Has fought a lot of people. Striker. Yeah. It just off the odds, I'm just gonna stick my neck out and pick Andrei Arlovski. And especially if they're giving me a big like decision prop on it, I do see it just kind of being a low volume, low output, heavyweight, kind of sloppy heavyweight fight.
It's going to be boring for sure.
Kind of boring. I do see it going to the decision. So if they're giving you a decent prop on the decision, I'll take it. But give me Andrei Arlovski for a pick at big dog money.
Okay. So the next fight, we have Michelle Waterson Gomez and Gillian Robertson. Michelle Gomez is 18-12, 6-8 in the UFC. She comes from a karate background. That's why her nickname's the Karate Hottie. So she's mainly a striker. She's got not even decent takedown defense. She's got some takedown defense, but it's really not that good. She can be taken down and she can be controlled. So then we flip it over to Gillian Robertson, who's 13-8, 10-6 in the UFC, and her main bag is aggressive wrestling. So she doesn't hide it. When she's not booked for fights, she's doing grappling tournaments. She actually beat Rose Namajunas in a grappling tournament either earlier this year or later last year. So that's the bag she's in. She does have a little bit of striking, but when it comes to the striking, Waterson Gomez is going to be miles ahead of her, way faster than her, all that. But I really don't think that matters. I think that Gillian Robertson's, her takedowns are good enough, her trips, her grappling is good enough that she's going to get a hold of Michelle eventually. And it's just how soon will she either find a finish from ground and pound or find a finish from sub. So, my pick is going to be Gillian Robertson. I'm going to say by sub, but I wouldn't be shocked if she gets like a ground and pound finish. And she is a minus 200 favorite in this. Michelle is a plus 165 underdog. So Vegas is with me too on this, but I am going to side with Gillian in this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, you said Gillian minus 200?
Minus 200.
I am on the same side. You mentioned ground and pound finish potentially, just like her last fight against Polly.
Right.
Polly in Vienna, I do believe. She
you had to bring that one up. Out of all the fights, you had to bring
I do believe she flattened her out and ground and pound finished her.
Broke my heart.
Yeah, Gomez coming off 4-fight losing streak, got beat up in her last fight bad. Yeah. Got the rematch against Marina Rodriguez and got beat up worse than the first one. So I think she's probably going to come out hot and just try to get aggressive with some striking early.
Right.
And then, like you said, probably get wrapped up, just get controlled in some grappling, probably get subbed, or, potential ground and pound, just gets her in a position she can't get out of and put something on her, or just wins the decision. It is a women's MMA fight. Majority go to decision.
I'm sure the over 2.5 in this is probably going to be juiced to like -400 or something.
Right,
wild.
so potentially a sneaky underplay if Gillian gets a finish, but my call is going to be Gillian by decision. I think she's just going to be able to get her grappling going and just, stay relentless with it and win a 3-round decision.
Right. All right.
What's the next fight?
Next fight is Payton Talbott and Yanis Ghemmouri.
The one.
The chosen one.
What'd you say that line was?
So the line on this, Payton Talbott, right, -1600 favorite.
Hammer it.
And he is
Put
Yanis
the house on
is a +800.
Yeah. Payton Talbott, super, super, super good. 2-0 in the UFC. He is only 8-0 in MMA, so still green, but just looks super natural when he fights. A lot of potential. I just see him going super far in the division. His last win against Saman, super
Very
dominant. A lot of knees, a lot of elbows, just relentless. Ghemmouri, I haven't really seen too much of him. Only one fight in the UFC, I do believe. And he got finished in the 3rd round. It was kind of a controversial body kick. He thought it was low.
Yeah.
He thought it was low. The referee said play on.
Was that Mark Goddard?
I don't remember the referee.
I think that was Mark Goddard. We were just talking about today some questionable calls by these refs.
Some questionable refs. We was actually comparing the refs and saying who we like the most, but we'll go into that in another conversation. Yes, sir. We'll put together a little rankings with the refs.
Yeah.
But yeah, got finished by Gomez in that 3rd round. That's all I've seen of him. I do think Payton Talbott is just probably gonna run through him. Seeing what he did to Saman, I think Saman would run through him. So give me Payton Talbott. Am I gonna touch a -1600 money line? Absolutely not. You can keep that. That makes me want to play Ghemmouri just for the sake of it. Yeah. But yeah, my pick's gonna be Payton Talbott, and I think he's just gonna get him out of there however he pleases. Probably by strikes. I think he probably KOs him.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, I'm pretty much on the same side as Pat here. Big Payton Talbott fan. This kid is just interesting all around. From the way he fights to his philosophy on life to even if you follow him on Instagram, crazy unique kid. He is only 8-0, 2-0 in the UFC, but both of those came by finish. Like Pat said, his last time out, it was against Cameron Simon, and Cameron is a dog. He's not just an easy feeder fight. Like, they really kind of gave him a true test, and he made it look easy. Like, he really made it look easy. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, so he's got really good size on him for bantamweight. He can knock you out. He can submit you. I mean, he can really have his way any way he wants. On the other side, like Pat said, Yanis is pretty new. He's 12-2, 0-1 in the UFC. They did sign him on short notice to fight William Gomes in Paris just to feel that they wanted Gomes on that card, that Paris card. So he did get signed for that. Like Pat said, it was kind of a controversial stoppage. But all that shit aside, Payton is the truth. I'm going to be honest with you. -1600, no way in hell. Like, no way. Even a finish, you might probably get fucking -400 or something that's not even going to be valuable for that spot. Mm-hmm. But it's not for no reason. Like, Payton Talbott is the truth. And unless he comes out here and gets chinned and makes me look stupid this fight, I really think he's, really next up. And that's an already tough division. So for my pick, it's definitely going to be Payton Talbott. And like Pat says, he can get a finish anyway. I can see him getting a flashy, crazy KO finish this fight. So give me Payton. Give me by finish. Don't bet it. I don't care how great he is that I'm saying he is. -1600 is never going to be worth it ever in any lifetime. So your next fight, we have Charles Jourdain and Gene Silva. So Gene Silva, 12-2. He's 1-0 in the UFC. 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. And so he's pretty decent size for a featherweight. He's a good Brazilian striker. He trains with Cal Barriault out of the Fighting Nerds, yes, which is a really good gym, putting out some pretty good prospects right now. Charles Jourdain on the other side, 15-7-1. He's 6-6 in the UFC. He's more of a technical striker, more kickboxing, kind of, float around, real light on his feet style. He has a good striking game. He has a slick submission game if somebody shoots a sloppy takedown, but his takedown defense and get up game is complete trash. This man can be taken down, and it's hard for him to get up if he has a good grappler on top of him. But he can pull some subs if he has a dumb grappler on top of him. So really, this fight, I'm gonna go personally with the experience of Charles Jourdain. I think he is good enough to keep range from Gene Silva, who does like to strike himself. I think he's going to be able to be light on his feet, move around. I think he's going to be able to keep range, throw some good kicks out there, really just, kind of bounce around. I don't see a finish in this unless there is like some sort of sloppy takedown or something like that. Or if there's a finish on the Silva side, if he catches Jourdain. But my pick is going to be Charles Jourdain, and I'll probably say by decision. So what do you think?
What'd you say the line on that was?
I didn't, but the line is -130 for Charles Jourdain, +110 for Silva.
You got Jourdain 6-6 in the UFC, so 50% in the UFC. Split coming off that split decision, lost to Sean Woodson, which wasn't the most impressive performance. Kind of just sit on the outside and let Sean Woodson pick him apart. Wasn't able to get no grappling going. I don't think he's a great wrestler.
No.
I don't really see him taking this fight to the ground. I probably see just some striking exchanges. He is a black belt and can get a sub, but I think Gene Silva is just going to want to find a knockout in this fight.
He's going to be swinging big.
He did KO Weston Wilson in his debut. He was set to face William Gomez, but that fight fell out when Gomez missed or had complications during the weight cut. I feel like William Gomez was a harder matchup than Charles Jourdain. But I think I'm going to go opposite. I think I'm going to take Gene Silva. I think he can find something, potentially just be the better striker. I just feel like Jourdain will have ways to win the fight, but he's not going to do it. He's just going to sit there and make it a kickboxing fight. And I feel like Gene Silva has more power.
He is a slow starter.
Less experience, obviously, coming out of Contender Series. But coming back to your point, coming out of a good camp, training with Barriault, Carlos Prates, who we just seen get that finish against Raki. So I'll make it another split decision and go Gene Silva and take the dog money.
Might as well. So the next fight is Cub Swanson and Andre Fili.
Okay, there it is. All right, we got Cub Swanson. I was about to say legend.
He is a
vet.
He's a vet.
I should say a vet.
He's a vet.
A lot of fights in the UFC. He is a black belt in BJJ. Struggles with getting taken down. He was taken down in his last 2 fights. 40 years old, so obviously he's going to be the older man. I feel like Andre Fili is just going to be the fresher fighter. 33 years old. He's going to have the age advantage. Feel like he has better striking. I feel like he's going to have more power. He's going to hold 4-inch reach advantage. I feel like the lines kind of just reflect the fight. What'd you say the line on this was?
-190 for Fili.
Maybe it grows. Maybe people like that Swanson dog money. I think Fili gets the win. He's only 11-10 in the UFC, so another 50% fighter. Right. Just somebody who's kind of struggled.
But
overall.
To be fair, the featherweight division it's a shark pool. So
yeah, it's a lot of talent.
It's not like any of those losses are to bums. Like
right.
He's been fighting some dogs his whole career.
Yeah, I think my pick's gonna be Fili, and I think he just gets it done on the feet. Probably, maybe by decision, but I could see him getting a knockout. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off Pat's pick. I am going with Fili too. Like Like Pat said, he's 11-10 in the UFC. But those losses, some of those, Dan Ige, Nathaniel Wood,
Not a bad loss.
Joe Anderson Brito, Bryce Mitchell, Sadiq Youssef. I mean, he's been losing to, top 5, top 10.
Good strikers, too.
Yeah, good strikers, wrestlers. There's a good mix in there. But Cub Swanson is an OG. I wouldn't say legend. He's an OG of the game. He's that old school stand and bang type of fighter. He does have, kind of a wrestling background, but it wasn't that deep. He's more so the old stand in the pocket. Let's duke it out. Let's see who's the tougher guy. And in this matchup against Andre Fili, that is not going to do him well. Andre Fili is a long striker. He does have good jabs. He does have good power. I wouldn't say he's a knockout artist, but he does have good power. He does have some finishes. He is going to be 3 inches taller. He is going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. And it is to be noted that Cub Swanson is coming back up to featherweight after trying his luck at 135 where he got beat. He didn't have a good time down there. So as a pick goes, I am going to say Andre Fili is the younger fighter. He is the longer fighter. He is, the one that has more just the youth on his side, the more upside to get a finish. I can see him either subbing Cub or just knocking him out.
Cub is coming off a win.
Is he?
Isn't he? Yeah, I do believe he got a win after that loss to Jonathan Martinez.
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure there was a robbery, though. It was a split decision, I'm pretty sure. And they...
Unanimous. He beat Hakeem Dawodu. I believe he was a dog in that fight as well.
Yeah.
So
if I'm remembering back,
may have some left in the tank.
Right.
But
that was down to bantamweight.
I think we are going to be on the same side here.
Yeah. Andre Fili is going to be my pick. Give me Andre Fili by finish.
And who we got in the next fight?
Next fight is Joe Pyfer and Marc-Andre Barriault.
Is that you or me?
Yeah, it's me. Right. I just got to find it in here. When I made my notes, the fight order was completely different. So Joe Pyfer, 12-3, 3-1 in the UFC. He's coming into this fight off his first loss to Jack Hermanson, where coming into that fight, they were really trying to push Joe Pyfer big time. Dana White's whole beat Joe Pyfer. They were trying to pump that he had a harder punch than Francis Ngannou, trying to say he broke the record at the UFC PEI. And then he goes into that fight against Jack Hermanson, who's known to be a tough fight at middleweight. He's one of those solid kind of journeyman guys. And Jack outlasted those big punches, made him miss, and then Jack gassed. And from that point, Jack just put it on him, and he completely put Joe just in his place and showed him there's levels to the cardio. There's levels to, the skill of the UFC. On the other side, Marc-Andre Barriault is 16-7, 5-6 in the UFC. He's a striker too. He's one of the old school. He likes to stand and trade. He's got 10 knockouts. He's got 5 decisions. So he's the type that he can get a big knockout if you're dumb enough to leave your chin up there for him. But he can also just grind out a decision. He can also, go all 15. To keep it short and sweet, I'm gonna give Joe Pyfer a chance here. I think he makes his bounce back and at least kind of shows that he's not it wasn't a complete hype train derail, but give me Joe Pyfer, and I'm going to take Joe Pyfer by knockout. What do you think?
He's juiced, right? Minus 300, minus 400.
265. So not terrible.
In a 3-round fight, which is,
right. Last one was a
5-round fight, so he did gas. Jack Hermanson just kind of had the edge in the cardio. He is going to have heavy hands. He has good wrestling. Barriault does have a guillotine, and I believe. Fights out of Kill Cliff, so it's training with some decent guys. Brandon Allen, Gilbert Burns, Michael Chandler.
Right.
Jared Gordon, who we just seen fight today.
Yeah. Tough fight.
Similar. I wouldn't say similar style, but he can hold his own on the feet. He'll stand there and exchange, but he can hold his own in the grappling as well. Yeah. I could see Joe Pyfer potentially putting his neck in some bad positions in this fight, shooting some sloppy takedowns.
Right.
As far as odds go, I don't hate Barriault as a dog pick, but Pyfer probably is super motivated to come back, get another win under his belt. Just like you said, doesn't want everybody to think that hype train is completely derailed.
Yeah.
Maybe made some adjustments and comes back, potentially gets a finish.
Right.
My pick will be Joe Pyfer. I don't think I'll play minus 265, minus 300 money line on it. But maybe like a finish prop of some sort. But my pick will be Joe Pyfer. I won't touch on it too much more.
I just had a little epiphany, right? I could be wrong and go against my gut, but you're right with the whole Joe Pyfer could, he's going to be coming back trying to prove he's not, just a flop, and that was just a one-off type thing. So we could see Joe Pyfer be more patient in this fight, whereas his last fight, he tends to like go hard in the beginning thinking he can knock anybody out.
And normally. He's not super like technical on the feet to where he will just sit there and pick somebody apart.
Right, right. But I can see him being almost, I don't want to say shy, but knowing he gassed his last fight, I can see him being a little gun shy and like not throwing as much, just in case it does go all three.
He does have second round finishes though, I believe.
Yeah.
And maybe a third. Does he have third round finishes as well? I'm not sure, but yeah, both of our picks going to be Joe Pyfer. I don't love minus 3. I think it'll move that way.
Yeah.
And if that Barriault dog line gets too big, I might take a look at it. But
right. So your next fight is Ian Garry and Michael Venom Page.
This is gonna be a fun one.
It might be a banger.
14-0, Ian Garry against Michael Page, coming from Bellator. Both super lengthy, super good strikers. Ian Garry, he does attack the legs well. So against Michael Page's kind of karate, bouncy, want to stay on the outside type of style. I see him probably attacking the legs here. Michael Page is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. So that plays to his style very well.
Big.
And I like Michael Page. What's the line on this fight?
So Michael Page is a plus 100, and they got Ian Garry at minus 120. So it's damn near pick'ems. And I feel like we will see it be close to like a minus 110 pick'em by the time next Saturday comes.
I feel like Garry is super good at keeping distance, but we have seen him dropped.
Yeah.
Which we've seen a chin tested against Song Kanon.
Yeah.
He got dropped by that left hook.
But to be fair, that was still early on in his career.
He had to split against Jeff Neal. So some people thought that Jeff Neal edged that out, it was kind of a close fight. I think Jeff Neal got a little bit of control time on the cage.
Yeah. It was a back and forth.
Michael Page got that karate style. I want to pick Michael Page in this fight. Ian Garry does seem super confident. Been watching a few of his interviews.
Right.
Talking about he's going to make this an easy fight.
Kevin Holland said the same.
That is right. Michael Page is all the way in, all the way out. I will say that. I just feel like he explodes in super well. I could see him kind of making it a similar fight that he did with Kevin Holland.
Right.
Just all the way in, exploding, getting some shots off, clinching, breaking, and then repeating. My pick, I'm gonna pick Michael Page in this fight. I think he'll just stay. I think he'll just land the cleaner shots. Like I said, be in, get his shots off, close out. I think he'll be the stronger guy. I think he'll be a little more physical. I think he's just as good as a striker and just as dangerous as Ian Garry. So give me Michael Page. What you think?
It's another fight that we're split on.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go with Ian, but I'm not going to go with the traditional, I think Ian's going to knock him out. It's going to be a tough fight for Ian, but I feel like where Ian talks a big game and says like he's going to do this, that, and the third, I also will give Ian props on the fact that his fight IQ, he actually does have good fight IQ.
Yeah, he does.
And if something happens and something's not going his way, he is able to implement a grappling game. He is able to work well against the fence, hold somebody up against the fence.
That is right. He could get some grappling going.
Like, Pat was talking about, this is Michael Page's second fight in the UFC. His first fight was against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was saying kind of the same things that Ian is. It's going to make it look easy. He's going to, welcome him to the UFC. But when it comes down to it, Michael Page is no-ho. He does blitz in and blitz out very quick. He's not there to be hit. He does move very well. And that's what makes me think that Ian is eventually going to implement that wrestling and that grappling, because if he's the type that he can't hit MVP, he's not going to get frustrated like Kevin Holland did and just start chasing him. Ian's going to try to cut off the cage, use that clinch work, take him down, which he can do. He does have grappling. He trains at Kill Cliff too, where or he did. I don't know if he has been lately. But he trained with good wrestlers, good grapplers. So give me Ian Garry. That's going to be my pick. I think he's going to implement that, just a good fight IQ. And give me Ian Garry by decision.
I don't hate it. That makes. Yeah. I mean, he could definitely get some grappling going. Now that I think about it.
All right. So the next fight, we got Mayra Bueno Silva and Macy Chiasson. So Mayra Bueno Silva is 10-3 or 10-3-1. She's 5-3 in the UFC. She's a tough Brazilian fighter with a bag full of submissions. She's got power in her hands too, but she's not really known for her striking. She's definitely tough. She's a tough girl with a good, submission base. Macy Chiasson is pretty much the UFC female version of Machine Gun Kelly. She's 9-3, 7-3 in the UFC. She's a big, tall girl, big, tall, brolic girl. She's 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. So she's going to be 5 inches taller and have a 5.5-inch reach advantage. Excuse me. I feel like this fight is really a coin flip, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. Even though the line does have Macy Chiasson as a plus 160 and Mayra Bueno Silva is a minus 190, I really feel like it's one of two ways. So Bueno Silva is going to be able to implement that grappling, the clinch work, the takedowns, and find a submission. Or Macy Chiasson has been working on her takedown defense and is able to avoid that clinch work in those takedowns and use her reach to keep Mayra Bueno Silva at the end of that jab and, kind of tit for tat on the striking. So honestly, like making a pick wise, man, give me Bueno Silva, but I don't feel great about it. It's not something that I feel confident about because on the other side, you pretty much have a man in Macy Chiasson fighting, so I don't feel great. But give me Bueno Silva. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think Bueno Silva is probably going to win the fight. I'll probably see her just finding a sub or something. Somehow, like you said, implementing the clinch, just being a more physical girl. But I feel like she struggles on the feet sometimes. I don't feel like she's the best striker. No. Obviously, her gas tank is not all the way there.
For 5 rounds, it don't look bad in
3. Yeah. I've seen her look suspect, but coming to like second rounds though, just kind of whiffing stuff, right. Super labored. But I do like her in this fight. I just feel like she's gonna be able to implement some type of grappling game, make Macy mess up somehow. But if they end up just striking for 3 rounds, Chiasson's probably gonna look like the side. In a 3-round. In a 3-round tit for tat fight.
She's a big girl. She's definitely a big girl.
I do feel like she's the cleaner striker of the two. So if Bueno Silva can't implement that clinch and just kind of make it greasy and get a hold of her, then she could potentially lose this fight. I'll probably stay away from it bet-wise. But if I got to make a pick, I'll go Bueno Silva by submission.
Okay. So the next fight that we have is Anthony Lionheart-Smith and Roman Dolidze.
Anthony Lionheart-Smith.
The fact that this fight is even on this card to begin with is insane.
Yeah, another short notice, kind of late put together fight. We got Anthony Smith, another vet, OG in the game, black belt and BJJ. I feel like he is going to be the cleaner. I want to say the cleaner striker in this fight. I want to say Dolidze is going to have a little more probably explosiveness, knockout power. But I don't see Dolidze kind of being able to get his game going where he probably wants to get it going.
Right.
As far as clinching, kind of getting some grappling going. I feel like if he just sits there tit for tat with Anthony Smith, he's probably going to lose. Would you agree with that?
No, but I'm going to let you get your point off. split decisions.
I know Dolidze is strong. I think he is gonna, like I said, he's gonna be more physical, just not too technical on the feet. If he can't get any type of grappling going against Anthony Smith or find a sub in some sort, I feel like Anthony Smith's just gonna outstrike him for 3 rounds. So, give me Anthony Smith by decision.
Yeah. So, while I said I don't agree, I do not think Anthony Smith is good.
I think it's a winnable fight for him.
I think when he wins these fights, it's against like these kind of up and coming prospects who haven't really been tested. Where Roman Dolidze, he's fought good competition. It's not like he's somebody that hasn't been tested. The only times I've seen Anthony Smith win is against Ryan Spann or, unproven competition. What I will give Anthony Smith in this, he is going to be the bigger guy because this is a light heavyweight fight. Roman Dolidze is coming up from middleweight to take this fight on short notice. He stepped in just to fill in. But at the same time, I think Dolidze's striking, it's not as good as Anthony Smith's, but it's not that much worse. Like, he's got more power, in my opinion. Anthony Smith doesn't really have that power. He just has the volume. And his last fight won pretty much because he hurt Budday with the leg kicks. And that really kind of started and snowballed.
For him shooting that guillotine?
Yeah, for him shooting that guillotine. So, really, I think Anthony Smith has a glaring, gaping hole in his game, and that is leg kicks. If you start with leg kicks on him, he doesn't know how to defend them or check them, And Roman Dolidze throws very hard low kicks. He's got very good kicks, very good power, and he's got the ability to submit Anthony Smith if he beats that leg up enough to where Anthony Smith feels like he has to shoot to save the fight. Roman can find a sub in there. So my pick personally is going to be Roman Dolidze. They don't have any lines on this yet. I'd be shocked if Roman's not the underdog with how short notice he is taking it, but I like Roman Dolidze personally.
I expect probably a close line, a pick'em line, honestly.
Yeah. So the next fight that we have is Diego Lopes and Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is 16-3. He's 8-3 in the UFC. He's a BJJ god, really. He's submission expert. They call him T-City for a reason. He's nasty with his triangles. He almost got Volk with the triangle in his title fight. He almost got him with a mean gilly too. On the ground, he is just a shark. You do not want to be on the ground with this man because he's more than likely going to sub you. But his stand-up game is awful, and he gets touched. I mean, he was getting touched by Yair. He was getting touched by Yair in their first fight. Volk was, piecing him up. Like, he gets touched. He just has a chin on him. I'll give him that. But on the other side, we got Diego Lopes, who's still new to the UFC. He's 24-6, but he's 3-1 in the UFC. He's, in my opinion, one of the most exciting new fighters in the UFC, and I personally think he has a chance to really be a featherweight champion one day. He's that good. His grappling, insane. His submission, slick. And just lately, his boxing and his striking has really taken itself to the next level to where he's flatlining fools, rocking them completely. This is going to be easy for me to pick. I might be a little biased because I like Diego Lopes so much, but give me Diego. I think that he's going to catch Brian on the chin. I think when Brian's going to be walking forward in that zombie mode, I feel like he's going to get rocked. He might even try to shoot sloppy, and either Diego catches a neck or he flattens him out, gets on top, ground and pound type TKO finish where Brian's just covering up and just, waiting for somebody to save him. But give me Diego. Give me Diego by finish. I'm going to say second round. What do you think?
Yeah, what'd you say the line was on this? Pretty close, right?
Diego's a -145, which is insane because, Brian's been around for
just
so
a lot
long.
of hype behind him.
Brian's at +120.
He did come in against somebody who is at the top of this division, undefeated, showed a lot of heart.
4 days notice.
Create a lot of unfamiliar situations for that guy. Put him in a lot of spots he probably never been in.
He rocked him. I'm pretty sure it's the first person that actually wobbled Movzar.
So definitely dangerous on the feet. Ortega, coming kind of on the latter end of his
Definitely.
of his career. So you got the new guy kind of versus the guy who's been here.
It's like a new version of Brian Ortega, honestly, with way better striking.
Ortega hasn't looked super good on the feet in his last few fights either.
No.
But is a dog, can take some damage.
He's got heart.
Can put
chance.
a pace on people that they kind of get uncomfortable with. I've never really seen Diego Lopes uncomfortable in a fight.
That man, it just looks like he's born.
Just looks like he's having fun. Looks like he's coming out there ready to go every single time. So my pick's going to be the same. I'm going to go with Diego Lopes. I just think it's going to be a changing of the guard type situation. I think they try and boost that rank and get him up there, get him fight for a title here soon.
And I promise you, right, this could come back to bite me on the ass, but I'm going all in on Diego Lopes in this. Okay. At that line.
So early predictions.
Early.
Diego Lopes, Tsuruya.
As of right now, you give me right now, if they fight next Saturday instead of Brian Ortega, I'm going with Ilya. Let me see how he looks Saturday. I feel like Saturday's really going to tell us. I like Ilya too. I'm a big Ilya fan. I was calling Ilya to upset Volk, calling it for months, but yeah. Give me Diego Lopes.
Both on Diego Lopes. Both high on Diego Lopes.
Right. So your next fight, main event.
Main event time. We got Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka, which this is a rematch. First fight, kind of a little controversial. A lot of people thought, or some people thought that it was fast stoppage, early stoppage.
Right.
But Yuri did get clipped, kind of fell on his back. But was implementing. Some may say he was implementing the game he wanted, putting it on Pereira before that happened.
After he got his leg completely destroyed, he was trying to strike with Alex until Alex caught him.
And that's the thing about Yuri; he can take. It seems like he can just take damage,
right,
and wear damage
until
it
can't, and then that's
right. You never know when it just stops. Yeah. But this is a rematch. It's hard to say because it ended one way. We know it's not going to end the same way.
Right.
So we're getting a whole new fight here. I feel like Yuri's probably going to come with, I would say, a different game plan. Probably going to try to close that distance a little bit faster. You know, not stay on the outside, get them legs chewed up like he did in that first fight.
Right.
I do think Yuri can win this fight, though. I think it's winnable for him. And at dog money, it will probably be the bet. It will probably be the pick as well. I think he can just implement a grappling style on him, or clip him with something on the feet too, because he was getting off some exchanges there in that second round before getting clipped, before getting put out. So I'll take the shot and just say Yuri wins. But what do you think about this fight?
Right. So I was just laughing because just about an hour ago we're watching fights, and we're talking about this fight, just kind of whatever, chopping it. And this man, I told him that I like Yuri too, right? I'm probably going to go with Yuri, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. But this man was like, nah, I wish you'd take Alex just so we can go split decision on that main event. And it's just wild because we like to have opposite picks to be able to kind of debate them a little bit, whatever. But I'm in the same boat. I'm going to go with Yuri, and it's crazy because I've been a big Alex fan. I called him to beat Izzy the first time. I picked him to beat Yuri last time. And won big money on that. I won $1,900 off a parlay because on that card. Really, Alex could come out here and do Alex. He could come out here and catch Yuri again. But I've watched that fight back. And once Alex was kicking the shit out of Yuri's leg and had him hurt, like once Yuri realized, oh shit, I can't stand on this leg. This is really hurting me. He instantly switched to the grappling. And after a little ghillie threat for maybe 15 seconds that Alex had, Yuri got him on the ground and held him down the rest of the round for the first round. And then the second round that came out, Yuri was trying to strike with him again. Same thing. He had wobbled Alex a couple of times, like stunned him a little bit. And then when Yuri rushed in, that's when he got caught against the fence and got hit with that quick little 1-2. Boom, he's down. He went to shoot. That's when Alex started dropping those elbows on him. And some people think it was an early stoppage, but Yuri did say after the fight he went out for a second. Whether he's being a good sport about it or he really went out, who knows. But I think Jiri's going to come out this time seeing how easy he got down Alex and knowing that Alex can knock him out. I think Jiri's going to come out this time, not fuck around. I think he's going to go shoot for the takedown early. I think he's going to sub Alex, and I hate to see it because I love Alex. I love him as a champ. I think he's, one of the best combat fighters ever of all time just because his striking is so high level. But give me Jiri. Give me Jiri probably by submission, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and it is noted to say the first time they fought, it was to replace John Jones and Steve Bay when that fight fell out at UFC 300. Now they're stepping in to cover this Chandler McGregor card, and they're filling in again. So these two are just absolute dogs. You have to take your hat off for them.
Still some exciting matchups for the replacements.
Yeah, great
though.
Main and co-main event in my opinion.
I would have liked to see that Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree.
Right.
But
overall,
that's all.
It is a good card for sure.
And sorry for the super. If it feels like we rushed through these picks, these are super early breakdowns, super early reads.
Right.
And a lot of these fights might switch up, might change up.
A lot of the fights don't even really need broken down that much either, just because the matchups are pretty lopsided in some of them, and in some of them there's just not a lot of info on these fighters. So, but it's going to be, I think, a very exciting card. We're back to the pay-per-views. Hopefully back to smacking these parlays and helping you guys out.
Trying to get back to them parlays, man. A little cold streak, but that's how it goes. You can't win them all, and sometimes you just put the wrong eggs in the wrong baskets.
Right. So we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, we always appreciate y'all stepping in and watching. This has been the 5th. We on the 5th.
I think 5th or 6th.
We on the 5th official episode of the Split Decisions podcast. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Justin.
And we appreciate y'all and enjoy the fights.
See y'all.